Good morning, this is Rav Shlomo Furst here, Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi, here in Yerushalayim, here at Kodesh. We're located in the Beit Knesset of Hanahi Yeshiva, on Rehov Zikron Yaakov, which is not too far from the central base station. So if you're coming from there, you can walk or take a bus. Driving, if you have a car, if you're coming from Footslarts, please fly in and join us, and we're happy to have you participate in our shiur. This is the first shiur in the morning, usually starting by 9 o'clock. We have a breakfast here. Cook fresh daily with coffee, as much as you can drink. If we run out, we'll make some more for you. And we're learning Pirkei Avos right now. We're in the first parak, the second Mishnah. Shimon Tzaddik Hayim B'Shari Knesset HaGedolah. Shimon Tzaddik was one of the remainders of the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah. He said three things: that the world stands upon Torah, Avoda, and Gilimos Asadim. So we're in the middle of discussing Shimon Tzaddik, that he was referred to as one of the Mishari Knesset HaGedolah. The question was he the one and only remaining member of the Knesset HaGedolah, or was he among other ones who also left over? He was perhaps the outstanding one, obviously, because he's mentioned here. So we're in the middle of discussing that. And also, as we'll see, we'll repeat a few things we learned yesterday, that he was a Kohen Gadol, and he served after Ezra. The question was, that we'll discuss maybe more today, was Ezra a Kohen Gadol or not? Right? That we'll go into some details about. So let's just review Rashi's parish. We'll see that the number 2 on the sheet. We have Rashi's parish, Shimon Tzaddik.
Shimon Tzaddik Kohen היה משרת 3 שערים, כלומר בסוף שלו היה עמהם להתחילה בית ימי עזרא.
So Shimon Tzaddik was the Kohen Gadol, right? And Mishari, the Lashon Mishari remainder, is a Lashon Misharim of remains. Kolomer, what does that mean? Rashi says Kolomer Besok, that's at the end. Mashma, at the end of the Anshe, of those people, the 120 members of the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah, Besoif, Shelo Chaya Imohim Betchilas by Yemei Ezra, that they weren't there at the beginning of the bias in the Bnei Ezra. So is that to suggest that Shimon Tzaddik also wasn't there at the beginning of the bias during the time of Ezra? So that's
not born yet, or
that's not clear, right?
Or he stayed away or something.
Yeah, that's not clear. Take a look at the number 3 in Magen Avos, the Rashbats. Take a look there at the beginning. Morning, Rakim. Yeah.
Rav Shlomo Furst זה רש"י.
That's Rashi. Rav Shlomo Furst, Rashi.
שלא היה עמהם בימי עזרא להתחיל את הבית, באמת הוא שלא היה להתחיל את הבית, אבל בכלל לכנסת הגדולה שקיבלו בין מלווים היה.
Okay, so he says it's reinforcing Rashi and saying this shot, locking it into place. It's true that he wasn't there at the beginning of the bias. That means, again, we're not sure if he wasn't born yet, or he was not old enough. He wasn't reached Kadlos and Torah and Maisim Tovim to be part of the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah. Rather, he was part of the Anshe Knesset HaGedolah. Then eventually, right, that they were makabel the Torah from the Levim. Okay, Shemesh. Let's continue on.
כשמש וכולם נשארה הקבלה בידו, שהוא גם כן קיבל ינבים, שהרי לא הזכירו המשנה שקיבל מאנשי כנסת הגדולה, לפי שהוא נכלל כמה שאמרה המשנה ונביאים מסורו באנשי כנסת הגדולה.
So, when everyone was nifter, now this, we learned
like this. Shach was the last one that took from the
yeah. Now we learned previously. I don't have the sheet with me now, but we had that I believe it was Malachi. They even bring rayas from the Gemara that Malachi was even at the time of the Korban Abayis. So I'm not sure if we make the Lashon Meso.
What number are you on? 3?
I'm not so sure about. We have to try.
Rock, I mean, here you
We're
go.
talking about the second one.
About you.
This is the second Malachi's
Yeah.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so now let's drop down to, from what we've learned now, was he was the absolute last one or he was amongst the last ones? What do we say? Well, any definitive opinion? Drink it in here.
Yeah. I think he was the last קיבלה בידו שהוא גם כן קיבל מנהירים.
See, Nisha Kabbalah Biyaro. It seems to be that the way the Magen Avos is touching up Rashi, that he was the one and only last one. Okay, so now let's take a look. Drop down to number 6, the Al-Shich. Take a look what the Al-Shich says here in this.
Al-Shich Vayikra, פרק ט', שמעון הצדיק היה משערי כנסת ישראל, ולא אחרון של כולם, אלו נכדם שיערים.
So you have Mefurish, the Al-Shich, saying he wasn't the Acharon. He was amongst those who remained. Right? He wasn't the absolute final member of the Anshe Knesset Gadol, a bit differently than the Magen Avos on Rashi. Okay, let's do.
וגם לא אמר דבר זה פעם אחת, כי אם הוא היה אומר שהיה מרגלי בפומיה לעיני כל הנשארים, מהם עמם ולא חלקו עם החמור.
That'll be something when we finally get to what he said, that'll be relevant to more what he said. That he didn't say it just once, he was saying this constantly. Right. Now take a look at the number 7, the Tiferes Yisrael. This also reinforces what the Al-Shich has said.
שמעון הצדיק היה משערי כנסת הגדולה, משערים מהם בסוף.
Mishahanirim mehem besov, not the one and only Acharon.
He's one of them.
He's one of the remainders. Okay, so we have apparently again now Rashi's not Mukhrach, right? Rashi's not Mukhrach that he was the one in Mishari, Lashon Misharim, Kaloma Besov. So Rashi's saying that he was not there at the beginning, rather he was there at the ones toward the end. But
he's one of the old timers.
Yeah, but not necessarily that as the Magen Avos said that he was the Acharon. I mean, we have the Al-Shich and the Tiferes Yisrael that clearly he was not the one and only Acharon. Let's move down to the Meiri, number 8. We did this yesterday, we'll review it again. Part of it at least, not all of it.
בית הבחירה, פרק א', שמעון הצדיק היה משערי כנסת ישראל.
Knesset Gadol, right? Mishari and Knesset Gadol. Rav Shlomo Furst. So again, not the one and only last one, but from those who remain. Right? So we're coming down, we're having row days so far. Now I'm not saying this is an exhaustive list. We have most days are saying that he wasn't the only one in absolute Acharon, the last one. He was amongst those who were the remainders, the last of the Knesset Gadol. Oh, so this is also something here. He says, the Meiri is saying he was there at the beginning of the B'tilas Beis Rishon, B'ayis Sheni. That was not like the Rashi and the Magen Avos. So that the Meiri seems to be saying he's taking on a different kibbutz over here. Okay. Kohen Gadol. Okay, now that'll be the next slide. He was so this leads us to the question we left off with yesterday, right? So it says clearly there was we know clearly that he was Kohen Gadol, right? That Rashi says Kohen Gadol Haya. Right, the Mishnah doesn't say. So Shimon Tzaddik Mishari Knesset Gadol didn't say Shimon Tzaddik Kohen Gadol Mishari Knesset Gadol, but it's known that he was Kohen Gadol. The Gemara says before 40 years in Mishtamish the Kohen Gadol for 40 years. Question is, what's mashma from the Meiri that who haya Kohen Gadol Acha Ezra? Now that leads us to the question: was Ezra a Kohen Gadol or not? What do you say, Rav, to me?
What question?
He was one of the Gedolei Dor for them. He was one of the
Ezra was definitely one of the Gedolei Dor.
He's the one that made Seder after they came out.
100%. He set Klal Yisrael, and the question was, was he also a Kohen Gadol?
Do we know that Ezra was a Kohen?
Oh,
Very
good. Okay, so now turn the page. Very good. Next, take a look at number 9. These are psukim from Ezra. Let's take a look. This is the beginning of Sefer of Perek Zayin in Ezra. Yechiel, you want to continue?
אחרי הדברים האלה, במלכוס עד תחשתה. מלך פרס.
That was the Melech Pras.
עזרא בן סריה, בן עזריה, בן חלקיה, בן שלום, בן צדוק, בן אחיטוב, בן אמריה, בן עזריה, בן מריות, בן זרחיה, בן עוזי, בן בוכי, בן אבישוע, בן פנחס, בן אלעזר, בן אהרון הכהן, הראש.
Choz's lineage is written here? Ezra? All the way back to Aaron?
This is a lineage.
This is written in the Ezra?
I think so. Take a look at it. It should be in the page. It should be black and white. Yeah. Who Ezra, right?
הוא עזרא הרב מגבל, והוא סופר מהיר בתורת משה, אשר נתן ירקוק אלוהי ישראל, וייתן לו המלך, כי עד
Hashem, that's a lesson for Hashem.
השם עליו, כל מקרשתו.
So, okay, so how do we answer your question, Rachmi? Was he a Kohen?
What's it called?
Yes.
Wow.
Get a yichus like that.
Yichus is so all the way down to...
Straight down to that.
It's not far. It's not far.
It's not that far, really. It's not that far. I mean, you know, it's a few hundred. It's more than a few hundred years.
Yeah.
It's a good 400, 500 years or so. But there you have it, right there. They kept records. And that was, you know, we know that Ezra was already very involved with yichus. That whole Sarah Yuchsim, the last parak in Kedushin, and the whole. He was very concerned about the yichus of Klal Yisrael, the purity of Klal Yisrael. So they kept very good records. So there you are. So he definitely, Ezra was definitely a Kohen, okay, no doubt about it. And in the Bible it said that Shimon Tzaddik was the Kohen Gadol after Ezra. Now, does that mean that Ezra was also Kohen Gadol? So we can see some more makars to this. To try and work on that. See, that's the Malbim here. Now, on this the fifth, on this pasuk we just had, these two we just had. The Malbim says in his parish.
Malbim Ezra Perek Zayin HaKohen Harosh.
Harosh. That is a reference apparently to Aaron, right? Right. He was Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen Harosh. He was the Kohen Harosh. So that's apparently a reference to Aaron. And then right after that, pasuk who Ezra Olav. That's Ezra who came from Babel. Okay. I mean, after all this, that's referring to Ezra. Now let's see what the Malbim says.
הכהן הראש, הכהן הראשון, הוא עזרא, שמעון הצדיק שהיה משערי כנסת הגדולה, אמר על שלושה דברים העולם עומד, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמר חסדינו. כי בימי כנסת הגדולה התפצלו שלושה עמודים אלו על ידי ג' אנשים מסוימים, על ידי זרובבל וישוע וכנסת גדולה.
I think that's HaKohen Gadol.
כהן גדול. נבנה.
So you have Zerubbabel and Yeshua. Zerubbabel, if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the ministers that was appointed by he was Jewish, I think he was one of the ministers appointed by the Malchi Pras to oversee the Jewish return to Eretz. I'm not sure.
It was in the time of Daniel?
I think I'm not sure if they were correspondingly.
It was before Ezra? It
was probably at the time of Ezra.
Time of Ezra.
To find out exactly, I have to check.
Okay.
Okay, so you have apparently, according to the Malbim, Zerubbabel v'Yehoshua Kohen Gadol nivda hamikdash. Go ahead.
ולהתבצרה עמוד העבודה, ואחריו יצא עזרא לכונן עמוד התורה, ואחריו נחמיה שבנה חומות העיר, עסק במדיניות לבצע עמוד
Gemilas Chassan.
לחסדים כמו שביאר ספרו. So everybody had their job. Ezra and Nehemiah, everybody had their job.
They
He
were
was in the West English and he was a kablan.
right.
Everybody had a-
Yeah, there was a lot. Believe me, there was a lot to do coming back to
Yeah.
Israel.
So Ezra was the time of the time when Sheikh Gedola.
He was the head of the Yajik.
the Hassan staying Baba.
Who said his?
Yeah, only the not so many Hassan who went to that.
Yeah.
Because so you're all Baba.
That's right.
Zaydem, seen him, gave him all.
He was very upset. Ezra was very upset that
Yeah.
Rov Kaiser didn't come.
Didn't come.
Didn't come out. Very upset about that. Yeah. Okay. So now let's.
And maybe they were worried about a job and that's all, right?
Well, whatever reason.
He said,
It was settled and he said, yeah. Something like it. Good weather.
So all those Jews they were in Bavel.
Yes.
They were there from the time of Beit Rishon.
Yeah.
And they made Aliyah in the early 50s. My wife's parents came out Aliyah in the early 50s
Yeah.
from Baghdad.
Yeah.
So they were from way back from Beit Rishon.
Sure, they didn't leave. Yeah.
Ah.
The ones who were there, they was there. Okay, now we're going to return back to the Meiri in number 11 in his Psicha to Maseches Avos. So we'll try and get a little bit more background on this. Yeah, you want to continue?
בית הבחירה מאירי, מסכת אבות, פית
Psicha,
סליחה,
Words up put together.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's right.
לקצת דברים שאמור עליהם במסכת יומא כ"א
Amid Beis.
עמוד ב' שהיו חסרים מבית השני, אלה שנקרא עדיין זמן אנשי כנסת הגדולה. מעט זמן שהוא לתחילת בית השני, כה ימי עזרא שהיה כהן גדול, ראשון,
The Beis
שני.
Also, few things Meporish. Okay, so it says here that by Sheni there was still Nikra Adayin Zman. It was still considered at the time of the Bayis Sheni, right? The Zman of the Anshe Knesset Gedola, Mat Zman, that was still for a short time. That meaning the time of the Anshe Knesset was for a short time. What is that time of the Anshe Knesset Gedola? That was to be the Tchilas Bayis Sheni, at the beginning of the Bayis Sheni. Kol Yemei Ezra, all the lifetime of Ezra, Shahaya Kohen Gadol Rishon LaBayis Sheni, before Shinamiri, right? Ezra was the Kohen Gadol Rishon LaBayis Sheni. Even though we had that the Malbim said that was Zerubbabel Yehoshua HaKohen Gadol Nivda HaMikdash, right? So I'm not sure what to do with that. Was that Yehoshua HaKohen Gadol? He was referred to by the Malbim as Kohen Gadol. And I'm sure he has Mikoros for what he says, right? And that he was there at the time of the building of the Mikdash. So where did he
took over from him?
Excuse me?
Maybe after it settled a little bit, as you took over.
Well, it says he was the Kohen Gadol Rishon. He was the Kohen Gadol. So maybe Yehoshua took over from Ezra, but we had previously that Shimon Tzaddik took over from Ezra, right? So we got here we got a problem here.
I'm hearing it. Can't have two Kohen Gadols same time.
At the same time, right? And the question is, who did Shimon Tzaddik take over from? Okay. Now we had that the I just want to get clear. Yeah, the Meiri, the Meiri in number 8, if you just flip back to page in number 8, right, that, he says there, he was the time there at the Techilas Binyan Bayis Sheni, and how you can't go to Acher Ezra, okay, after Ezra. Okay, so it's mashma that he took over the Kohuna Gedolah from Ezra. That's what's mashma from the Meiri. Okay, we had the Malbim that just said that Yehoshua Kohen Gadol was Nivdad HaMikdash, right? That, it's not, although it's not Mukhrach, I mean, it's not 100% definitive, but it would lead me to believe that Yehoshua Kohen Gadol was the first Kohen Gadol of the Bayis Sheni. But we see clearly that the Meiri says not like that. He says that Ezra was the Kohen Gadol of the Bayis Sheni, right? Ezra was the Kohen Gadol Rishon of the Bayis Sheni. Okay, so we'll have to see what we can do about that. Okay, let's continue on with the Meiri. You have the sheet there. It's number 11. We're in.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
Start again from 11. So basically, here the Meiri.
בתחילה מסכת אבות, פיתחה הרמז לקצת דברים האומר עליהם במסכת יומא כ"א דף פ שהיו חסרים מבית השני, אלה שנקרא עדיין זמן אנשי כנסת הגדולה.
So the time was a short time for the Anshe Knesset Gadol. At the beginning of the Bayis Sheni was a short period, which was called the time of the Anshe Knesset Gadol. And what was that? How long did that last?
מעט זמן הוא מתחיל בית שני, כל ימי עזרא שהיה כהן גדול הראשון לבית השני, וכל ימי שמעון הצדיק שהיה כהן גדול אחר עזרא, הוא היה ממוצע בין זמן אנשי כנסת הגדולה לזמן חכמי התלמוד.
Okay, so one moment. So we have that, again, the Meiri restates what he had said previously, that Shimon HaTzadik became the Kohen Gadol after Ezra, who was the Kohen Gadol Rishon of the Bayis Sheni. So where Yehoshua Kohen Gadol fits in, I'm not sure. Okay, that's based on the Malbim. Okay, that's not clear to me. Okay, let's continue.
Yeah.
Okay, so that time, what's called the time period of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, according to the Meiri here, is the time from the building of the Bayis Sheni, all the years of Ezra, and all the years of Shimon HaTzadik, who was the Kohen Gadol after Ezra.
Which is very stable. That means it was very stable.
Very stable. It was a very good time. I mean, look, they didn't, it wasn't easy building base buildings. They had a lot of difficulties. But in terms of leadership, it was very strong leadership. Yeah. What did they say about the
Yeah, what they say, but they complain about it. So stop a little bit from maybe it stopped after Purim,
Yeah, that was at the beginning, right.
Purim was toward the end of December.
Right. Okay, so who haya memutza bein zman anshi knesses gedola lezman chakmi talmud, meaning I believe this is a reference to Shimon HaTzadik. He was the memutza. He was
In the middle.
He was in the middle. Bein anshi knesses gedola to the chakmi talmud. Okay. Now he calls him the Acharon, right? The Meiri calls him meaning not just one of the remainders, but he calls him the Acharon, the remaining. And actually, although in number 8, you go here.
He's explaining me how come it starts with Shimon HaTzadik.
Right.
Because he was
The transition, right, exactly. Now, but if you could turn back to 8 for a moment, right? Just turn the page back to number 8, right? At the very beginning, the Meiri says, right, Shimon HaTzadik HaMishari, Achronim. Not the Acharon, but the Achronim. So here when he says Acharon, I'm not sure you have to take it exactly literally that he was the absolute final one. Okay? Yeah, so he was to the he bridged the gap, the time period between the Anshe Knesses Gedola and the Chachmei Talmud. V'haya Achron la'Anshe Knesses Gedola. Rishon LaChachamim, he was the first of the Chachamim, the sages. Okay.
והיה בזמן אלכסנדר שהשמיד מלכי פרס בשנת 40 לבניין בית השני.
So he was the Rishon of the Chachamim, and he was at the time of Alexander the Great, that he conquered the Malki Pras. That was 40 years into the Bayis Sheni.
והוא בשנת ל"ד לבניין הבית שנבנה במרקוס דרוויש. Darish was the son of
Esther.
Esther.
Yeah.
Melech Paras.
So that tells
Darish. That's Esther. She had a boy from Achashverosh.
Yeah.
So everything.
Was he the good king that let us rebuild after somebody?
Daryavish, yeah.
He was a Jew.
Yeah, he was Esther's child. He let us rebuild at some point a little bit.
Yeah, right. Started and then he stopped in the middle and then was. Oh, that's we get to Purim. We get to see with the help of wine. We get to see the real workings of the Rebbeinu Shalom in the world.
דרוויש מלך פרש יצא אלכסנדר מלך יוון במלחמה על דרוויש שהתחיל לכבוש מלכותו באותו שנה כיבש אילם, המדינה שהייתה ראש למלכות פרס. ובשנת 40 בבניין מלכותו מלך פרס, ואז נסתלקה שם מלכות פרס והתחיל מלכות יוונים. הוא ביקש להשמיד ירושלים ובית המקדש. בשנת 40 בבניין יצא לפניו שמעון הצדיק. יום ס"ט.
That's the Gemara in Yuma Samik test. Meaning at that time, that was at the 40th year of the bias.
הוא היה בן ישוע בן
צדיק.
כשראו העדרו ונסעו בפני סתמות יקנו, היה רואה לפניו במלחמות נוצח והשלים עמו והטענה שהיו מונים לשטרותיהם לתחילת מלכותו שהוא
Shinpei
שנה קודם החורבן.
Right, so there was 380 years before the Churban. So that just gives you a little bit of the history. Okay, but we see a few things here. We see that the Meir is learning that Shimon Tzadik took over from Ezra, who was a Kohen Gadol, and that was 40. They gave some of the dates from the binyan of the bias, and Shimon Tzadik was the beginning of the Chachmei Talmud. Okay, and let's see. Okay, actually, a moment or two. Jump down to the number 15, the Hadama, the Yad Chazak of the Rambam. Let's see how he understands has this.
הקדמה ליד חזקה לרמב"ם, בית דינו של עזרא, הם הנקראים אנשי כנסת הגדולה, והם חגי זכריה, מלכי דניאל חנניה ומשעל ועזריה, ונחמיה בן חכמי ומרדכי בלשן וזרובאל, והרבה חכמים עמהם תשלומים 120 זקנים, והאחרון מהם הוא שמעון הצדיק. הוא היה מכלל 120 וקיבל תורה שבעל פה מכולם, והוא היה כהן גדול אחר עזרא.
Very good. So it could be that when he mentions Acharon Mehem, I'm not sure we have to say it's literally the absolute Acharon, but he was maybe of all he was actually the most important of those who were remaining. So it could be that could be not to make a machlokus. That could be what they're all saying. That everyone would agree that he was the most important of the last remaining members of the Anshe Gadol, because he was given the Masorah from he carried the Masorah. The only thing I have to try and work on for tomorrow is maybe I think we have to check out the Gemaras we learned about 2 weeks ago already. It was Malachai or Chagai that they even mentioned that he was there perhaps even as long as the time of the Korban Abayis. So that might be something to spend time on. Okay, we'll have to stop here. So tomorrow we'll start Mishkabush in a moment.